It's time now for Call of the Wild, the official weekly coaches show of the Wenatchee Wild. Stay up to date with your team all season long with Call of the Wild. With head coach and GM Bliss Littler, here's the voice of your Wenatchee Wild, Arch Ecker.
Hello and welcome to Call of the Wild, your weekly Wenatchee Wild coaches show. I'm Arch Ecker alongside Wenatchee Wild head coach and general manager Bliss Littler. The Wild coming home after a 4-game road swing through British Columbia, a road swing that didn't work out as well as we would have liked as far as the results of the games. However, there were still plenty of positives to come out of that road swing as well. We'll start off with the Wednesday night. We were playing in Chilliwack, a mainland division rival. It was a game where Chilliwack got off to the early lead, but then your Wild responded, took a 2-1 lead, and it felt like things were moving in the right direction.
Well, Arch, I think that the Wednesday game in Chilliwack is the only game that, and it was a kind of a typical Wednesday game that wasn't a great atmosphere. I thought both teams made a lot of mistakes, and then at the same time both teams competed. Sometimes you compete, but you don't compete smart, and I think that was the case with us. That Chilliwack definitely outplayed us. I thought that was the only time of the weekend that we got outplayed, but they definitely took advantage of our mistakes, and they played harder than we did. Even with that, you had the 2-1 lead. They came back, and they were up 2 quick goals. They were up 4-2. Sam Morton responded very quickly and with a little help from Weatherby, and he jams home, and all of a sudden it's a 1-goal hockey game. So even though you may have felt the team was being outplayed a little bit, you're still right in the thick of it. Well, the chances ended up pretty even. But again, I'm just saying, they scored 7 goals on us. Again, you got to give them credit for that. Again, they're our biggest rival. Again, we're still battling, we're still hanging in it, and like I say, we competed hard. We just didn't compete real smart, and they took advantage of the mistakes when we made them, and they end up in the back of the net. How you respond to a game like that is always a nice telling signature of a team's growth and development. You had a day off. We traveled out and we headed over towards Merritt. We played the Merritt Centennials, a team that we had beaten earlier in the year on our home ice. In their building, a little bit different story because it's a smaller ice sheet and a big, heavy crash and bang kind of team. Your team responded, as they have all year, very positively to the adversity of the game before. Came out and did almost everything right against Merritt. You play that game with how it was played, and 9 out of 10 times you're going to come out of there with a win. Again, we outchanced them badly. I thought we played very well, and one of those nights that the puck definitely had eyes for them. That they took advantage of a couple situations real early. That I think we came out, and I think it was 6 or 8-0 worth of shots, and the puck hadn't really got out of their end, and we take a penalty, and we make a mistake. A glove comes off. We go pick the glove up. The guy goes in. He shoots it back across his body, and it kind of had ice. That I think it kind of surprised our goaltender and found the net. And right after that, they win a face-off, and we make a save. And it was kind of a shot just to put it on net, just to see if there's a rebound, and it got through and just kind of hung off to the side, and it was kind of an easy tap, and where we didn't make them work real hard, but to give them credit for getting the puck to the net, and all of a sudden there we are, we're playing good hockey. We make 2 mistakes, and it's a team game, and all of a sudden we're back to playing catch-up hockey. But I thought we battled hard the whole night. I thought we had some great chances. That the best player on the ice that night was definitely their goaltender. The following night, we traveled into West Kelowna, and it was basically the same story all over again, where the best player on the ice, I think, was their goaltender. He was a new goaltender that they had just acquired, playing in his first game for him. And the Wild threw everything but the kitchen sink, and maybe the kitchen sink as well, and the bathroom sink, and a water heater, and a couple of garbage cans. Threw everything at him, and still ended up on the wrong side, despite how dominating the Wild were out of the gate. Yeah, it was Parents' Weekend up there. That end of the first period, I'm standing on the bench, I'm looking at the clock, and I see I think the shots were 23-2, and we're only up 1-0. and one of their security people standing next to the box, he complimented our team, and he goes, you're only up 1-0. That's a little bit scary. And I thought, yeah, that you're right. And at one point in the third period, I think it was about 8 minutes in, I look up and it's 3-1 them, and I think shots were 36-5. So we just have to do a better job of making people work harder to score. That now and then the law of averages catches up to you, and some pucks are going to have eyes, and they just find the back of the net. And we've had plenty of those that have gone in for us. But you're there calling the game. There wasn't much not to like. How we played in West Kelowna. I think we gave up 11 chances the whole night. So our kids played hard, they competed hard, and we just got to make fewer mistakes.
And I think that's the one thing that the Wild Nation that weren't there, and there was a really good turnout of people that had made the trek to come up and watch the team. But the people that only watch the final score, and maybe they see it in the newspaper or on TV or whatever, they look and say, wow, you guys lost 3 out of 4 games up there. What's going on? But that's clearly not the issue. It's not a matter of the team not playing well suddenly or going into some sort of funk. They're playing exceptionally well. So I wanted to give you the opportunity. What would you say to those fans that look at those losses and have concern?
The ones that are negative that way, you really can't say anything to them, because they're gonna that's what they're going to see. But for the most part, again, they're all you can do is show up and play. That again, to a fan that's upset about that. Again, we're upset with the outcome, but how we played, not one bit. And that if you create as many chances that we've been creating, the puck's going to start going back in the net. And again, I talked to you earlier in the year about the power play, that it's about creating chances. There's some nights that it finds the back of the net, and there are others that it doesn't. And we ran into a couple of goaltenders that played exceptionally well on the weekend, and we've had a lot of breaks go our way early in the year, and it just happened to be a part of the schedule where, for one reason or another, the puck didn't bounce our way.
We could talk about how good we feel about how the team performed in West Kelowna, even in a losing effort. Even more so, I think, the following day. It's an afternoon game. We got travel mixed in there as well. We're at Salmon Arm at 3 o'clock on a Sunday. 4th game in 5 days. Of course, for Salmon Arm, they played a couple games that weekend as well. But, both teams just having to grind it out on a Sunday, and the way your team responded and performed on that Sunday, fighting off with 3 losses in a row, hanging on their shoulder like a giant big old elephant on their back. The way they responded was, and falling behind 3-1 in the game. It had to have been a little bit of, oh no, really, again? But the guys shook it off, and they came back and plowed through and got the win.
Yeah, I don't think the average fan realizes. You've lived it, but when the players, when you drop a game, nothing tastes good. Nothing feels good until you win the next time. That you get on the bus, and your bus seat's not as comfortable. You get to the restaurant, the food doesn't taste as good. You don't sleep as well. It's just how it is when you're playing competitive hockey. That it stays with you until you finally win. And a lot of this game's played right between your ears. That whether you think you can or think you can't, you're both right. And sometimes when it starts going the other way, you have to keep reminding guys that hey, this is temporary. That we've had a lot of pucks bounce our way. That it's just temporary. That we're going to get the save. We're going to get this, and we'll break the puck out next time, and or we'll bang in that rebound. And so it's a combination of a lot of things. But you need to remind the guys the reason we've had success, and generally the thing that it does happen is players try to do too much, and the more they try to do, the more mistakes you make, and that's not how you want to play.
Another benefit that I think you can take out of that 4-game set was the fact that throughout this season you've gotten a lot of scoring from the top end of the roster. Mm-hmm. Over this weekend, some of the guys on the blue line that aren't typically your point guys, Austin Chavez, Logan Milliken, Chris Jones, all those guys getting goals in tough situations, that bodes well for the future as well.
It certainly does. And I think what you're seeing is a lot of teams are really playing defensive against us, that once the puck gets into their zone, they're packing everybody in below the top of the circles. And so a lot of the playmaking that we've been doing in the past, it tightens up. And so you have to use your points to get them to get out to cover them so that they can't play five guys low. And when your D start getting pucks to the net, starts going in, they have to slide out to cover them. Then it goes back and it creates space for your forwards to operate. And again, you're right, that bodes well.
If you're in a Wenatchee Wild jersey and you have a number 9 on your back or a number 23 on your back, you're going to attract a lot of attention. Talk about the beating those guys take on a night-in, night-out basis.
Well, again, you got to be careful what you say, that you don't want to get fined. But it is, Kawaguchi up in Chilliwack, he sees the same thing. That the top players, they get abused. I mean, they really do. That it's every face-off they get an extra shot, and every time they touch the puck they get an extra shot, and it's just how it is. That I've talked to both those guys that. Your bumps, you're earning your ice packs, and it just comes with the territory, whether you agree with it or not. Again, those guys, they definitely are recipients of other teams getting to the line, I guess, that as far as the physical play with them. And they're still picking up their points, and they're learning to deal with it, and again, I'm not too concerned with those two guys.
This is Call of the Wild, your weekly Wenatchee Wild coaches show. Arch Ecker alongside Bliss Littler. We'll step away for a quick break and come back to talk about the upcoming homestand as Call of the Wild continues here on your Wenatchee Wild Hockey Network. And welcome back to this week's edition of Call of the Wild. Arch Ecker alongside head coach and GM of the Wenatchee Wild, Bliss Littler. This weekend, we kick off a 5-game homestand. The Wild have had great success on home ice this season. They're going to get challenged right out of the gate Wednesday night. It's the Chilliwack Chiefs coming in here for the first time this season.
Well, again, Chilliwack's our main rival, that's for sure. We've split the two games up there so far, and they got the better of us last time, so that's still pretty fresh in our minds. So I would think that we should have our A game. Again, we've played well at home, and certainly hope that continues. But for the most part, I know we're excited to get back on home ice.
Off the ice, a nice promotion going on for Wednesday night. $1 hot dogs, $1 beers, $1 pops. In the past, you've seen those kind of things happen. They generally tend to help lend to the atmosphere in the arena. Everybody comes in, they're in a good mood. They got a belly full of beer and hot dogs and pop, and they're ready to go, right?
Yeah, that's kind of how it is. That and hopefully you can get off to a good start, and you can get the good mood that everybody's in. You can get them into the game right away, and help create the intimidating effect that this building can have on other teams.
Last year you had to play a game on Thanksgiving Thursday. This year you don't have that. Everyone gets to spend the holiday with their family. How important is that for your team mentally?
Well, again, we definitely listen to our fans. That was not a popular game last year, and basically we were told that they do not want to come to a game on Thanksgiving. So we heard it and made sure that we're not playing on Thanksgiving. But again, I think the players all enjoy having the day where they can have a great meal with their housing families, and sometimes their parents are in town, and get away from hockey for that day and enjoy themselves. So I think it is important.
The following night, it's the Vernon Vipers coming in. It's a team that you saw at the showcase. I had a 6-3 victory over Vernon in that meeting. Again, another non-division game. You don't see this team a whole lot. What can you tell me about the Vernon Vipers?
Well, they like to be as physical as anybody in the league. They chip a lot of pucks, and again, if somebody wants to see crash and bang hockey, Friday night will be the night to show up, because that's the style that they play. And I know that in the showcase they got that way with us, and the nice thing to see is we gave it right back. And I think they found out that we have some guys that like that stuff too. And so if that's your style of hockey, Friday night, I'm sure that Vernon will come in, and again, they're a well-coached team. They play a very structured game, and that's how they play. They like to get up and down the ice and bang as much as they can. And so again, I think we know what to expect, and I think it'll be a heck of a hockey game.
From a head coaching standpoint, do you find it easier to play against teams that stick to a structured method as opposed to teams that freewheel a lot more?
Absolutely. I mean, when a team shows a whole bunch of structure, it's more so offensively, everybody plays a pretty structured D-zone coverage, whether it's man-on-man, whether it's 5 low, a box and one, whatever the system is. Everybody's pretty structured there. Defense, it's about hard work and structure. I mean, everybody's that way. But offensively, teams that are very structured can be very predictable. And I helped on Dean Blaze's staff at UNO before I came out here, and Dean Blaze is one of the best coaches in North America, whether it's college or pro hockey, whatever level you're looking at. He's noted for that. Not a lot of structure offensively, but make plays, and we play that same style of hockey, that we want to make a whole bunch of plays and be a little unpredictable offensively.
Saturday night, we'll close out this weekend part of the homestand, although there's still 2 more games coming next week. But you got West Kelowna coming back in here, and maybe a little bit of a lick in the lips at another opportunity to face that team just a week after having played them in their barn. They'll be coming here, and what's cool about Saturday, we've got the poster night, which means the first 1,000 fans in the door will be given a team poster. There's going to be an autograph session after the game. So we'll talk both about the game itself, but after the game, the players' opportunity to interact with the fans on that level and what that means, because that's great for both sides. For
sure, Arch. I know that that can't get here soon enough. That one, we have Chilliwack in here, and that's our primary concern right now, and all we're really looking forward to is Wednesday, and then we'll worry about Friday. But again, leaving West Kelowna without a win was very frustrating, I guess, to put it mildly. But I think we're excited to get back after it, and they play kind of the opposite of all we do. They're extremely structured. They trap and they back up a lot of guys in the neutral zone, try not to give anything up there. They're very into never giving up an outnumbered rush, and obviously they've been very successful. I mean, they're the Royal Bank, the defending Royal Bank Cup champion, so that style is very effective, and we have to get to their goaltender a little bit earlier. He's a kid that just came out of the Western Hockey League. That sometimes those kids come out and they come with a chip on their shoulder. Other times they come out and they're upset and they don't get a lot out of them. That they're not real effective. But definitely this kid came into West Kelowna with a chip on his shoulder and proved and had something to prove, and it appears that he's doing that right now.
So getting back to the part where the players interact with fans throughout the season, the guys do a lot of appearances in schools, spend a lot of time with the youth in the area, and then also with the ADM and the WAHA practices. We go to the senior center, do that kind of thing. But, the average fan that comes to every game, those guys, they don't have as many opportunities to interact with the players one-on-one and actually look a guy in the eye and say, hey, I appreciate what you do, those kind of things. For the players to have that interaction with the fans is as rewarding as it is for the fans to get to meet the players that they cheer for all year long.
Oh, for sure. You're right. Our kids average over 100 hours of giving back to the community per kid during the season. But the autograph signings afterwards, it's always fun to see how long the lines are. And here's a place that those lines are long, and people stand in them, they wait, they want to get all the autographs, and it's pretty neat. It's a pretty neat deal, and I notice it throughout the year when I see fans at different places that they'll talk about, hey, I got to meet so and so, and I thought, oh, where'd you meet him? And well, when we signed autographs afterwards, and so he might have only spent a minute or so, but he had the family looked at it, or whoever it was, and they took something pretty good out of it.
Meaningful moments, to be sure, and memories that last for years. So that's all coming up this weekend. A huge weekend of hockey here at the Town Toyota Center. Chilliwack Wednesday. You had Vernon on Friday, West Kelowna Saturday. Ticket specials galore. We've got the Run From Your Relatives promotion. You can get a ticket for all 3 games for just $30. Call the office for more information at 888-PUCK. It's 888-7825. That's going to wrap it up for this week's edition of Call of the Wild. I'm Arch Ecker along with Bliss Littler. We'll see you next time on the Wenatchee Wild Hockey Network.
You've been listening to Call of the Wild, the official weekly coaches show of the Wenatchee Wild, a presentation of the Wenatchee Wild Hockey Network.